Hello everyone, my name is Todd. I'm going to be your logic tutor today, and we continue on with natural deduction using the rules of proper inference. Alright, so on this problem here we need to prove z, so I look around to see if I can find z, and I see z in the consequent of line 5 and in the consequent of line 6. When I see what I'm after twice in a consequent, I start thinking that simple dilemma is going to be the key, in which case I would need the disjunction S or T to complete the dilemma. And I notice there's an S or T on line 2, so what I need to do is get the antecedent so I can do a modus tollens. Well, I don't see the H then K anywhere, but I have a standard trick to get a conditional that I don't see, and that is find the antecedent then something and the something in the consequent, and supposing that those two somethings are the same, then by hypothetical syllogism you get the conditional you need. Okay? So I see an H then blank. It's right here in line 3. Now it looks like it's not H then I, but remember, to get it out of a conditional we need to do modus tollens, in which case the negation will drop off the H then I. Alright, in order to do that modus tollens I need the opposite of the consequent, so I need A or B. I don't have it, but I could make it out of 1. Watch this. A or B from 1 by addition. So now I have my A or B, so I can do a modus tollens with line 3, and that gets me H then I. So that was 3 and 7 modus tollens. Now that I have that H then I, look for this other part, the blank then K, and it's H then I, so I want an I then K, and it's right here on line 4. So I get H then K from 4 and 8 hypothetical syllogism. Okay, now that I have the H then K, let's go back and think about 2 again. It says if you have H then K, which we now do, we can get S or T, and that's from 2 and 9 modus ponens. Now, we got this S or T because we were going to use it in a dilemma with lines 5 and 6. We would get Z from 5, 6, and 11, simple dilemma. And we're done. Let's move on to another. Okay. Here on 47, we need to prove this disjunction, not Q or E. So we look for the disjunction as a unit, and I don't see it. So I could look for its opposite in an antecedent, and I don't do that. I don't see that either. So since I have to prove a disjunction, I have 2 strategies in mind. One is get a not Q and then simply add on the or E. The other thing I'm going to think about, the other strategy, is look for both of those disjuncts in the consequence of conditional. So I'd be looking for then not Q and then E, because if I could find those and I could find this disjunction, I could get not Q or E by constructive dilemma. So let me see if I have those parts. Blank then Q, not Q. I don't. So I think I'm going to have to go for this strategy, get the not Q and add the or E. Now, it doesn't appear as if I have a not Q, but I have one right here in line 3 in hiding. Suppose that I could get that consequent, Q then not G. Well, then if I could get a G by modus tollens, I'd have my not Q, and I then could go on and add or E. So I'm going to try to get this consequent from line 3. What do I need? I need an A and a C to get to it, but I don't see that, but I think I can build A then C. If I have A then blank and blank then C, I can build it by hypothetical syllogism. A then blank is in hiding in line 1. I would need a not E, which I have on line 4, to do a modus tollens, and then I get A then B, 1 and 4 modus tollens. And now look at line 5. 5 says B then C. I already have A then B, so 7 is A then C. 5, 6, hypothetical syllogism. So I have A then C, and look at line 3. So with line 3, I'm going to skip a line here since I'm getting too messy. I can do a modus ponens and get Q then not G. That's 3 and 7 modus ponens. I'm after a not Q at this point, so I need a G. Look at line 2, I've got G and H, which means I can say G from 2 by simplification. And so 10, I can say not Q, 8, 9 modus tollens. So now I've got my not Q, and this goes back to my beginning strategy, not Q or E from 10 by addition. Okay, I think we have time for one more. Let's look at this problem. I have to get to a Q. I look around, I don't see a Q, but my next thought is look for the opposite in an antecedent, and so I'm focused on line 3. Because if I could do a modus tollens with line 3, I'd get a Q. What would I need? I would need the opposite of not D or E, which would be D or E. All right, so how am I going to get to D or E? I don't see D or E, but since this is or E, all I need is the D. And I notice there's a D on line 2. I need a B and a Z. I don't see those together anywhere, but I think I can put them together from the parts, because I notice I have a Z on line 5, and I can probably get a B from line 1. Look at 1 and 4. A or B, not A on 4, I can get B from 1 and 4 ds. Now that I have that B, I'm going to put it together with my Z, B and Z from 5 and 6 conjunction. Now that B and Z is the antecedent to line 2, so I can get D from 2 and 7 modus ponens. Okay, remember I was going to build D or E once I got a D, so I have D or E from 8 by addition. And what was I going to do with this D or E? I was going to do a modus tollens on line 3, and that gets me, well, Q, I guess I have an extra line here, Q from 3 and 9 modus tollens, and we're done.